In 1938, two teenagers in Cleveland, Ohio, named Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, would create a superhero for Action Comics that some say is the greatest of all superheroes.
Fast forward to 1978. This iconic hero's box office debut was a $300.48 million success. Today, we're traveling back in time to explore the history of the Superman films. Back in 1938, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster weren't just looking to make a quick buck, but rather a figure that would stand for the good of all people. Both teens were products of the Great Depression who wanted to create the ultimate hero, someone who could stand up for the oppressed and fight injustice. Siegel, the writer, and Shuster, the artist, drew inspiration from their own experiences as outsiders and their love of science fiction. They envisioned a character who was both alien and deeply human, someone who embodied the best of American values while possessing extraordinary abilities. Their creation would remain primarily in comics and radio serials until 1978, when everything changed with the release of Superman the movie. Directed by Richard Donner, this film revolutionized superhero cinema and established the template that Marvel and DC would follow for decades. Christopher Reeve became the definitive Superman, bringing both incredible physical presence and emotional depth to the role. The supporting cast was equally impressive, featuring Marlon Brando as Jor-El, Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, Margot Kidder as Lois Lane, and Glenn Ford as Jonathan Kent. John Williams composed the iconic theme music that still gives audiences chills today, creating what many consider the greatest superhero theme ever written. The plot followed Superman's origin story, from his birth on the dying planet Krypton to his arrival on Earth and eventual emergence as humanity's greatest protector. The primary villain was Lex Luthor, portrayed not as a corporate mogul, but as a brilliant criminal mastermind obsessed with real estate schemes.
The San Andreas Fault, maybe you've heard of it.
Yes, it's the joining together of two landmasses. The fault line is unstable and shifting, which is why you get earthquakes in California from time to time.
Wonderful. Couldn't have said it better myself.
The film earned critical acclaim and massive commercial success, grossing over $400 million worldwide against a $55 million budget. Superman 2, released in 1980, continued Reeves' journey but with significant behind-the-scenes drama. The villains were three Kryptonian criminals led by General Zod, played memorably by Terrence Stamp.
Why not increase his handicap? Since he cares so much for these Earth creatures, let us take his favorite.
The plot centered on Superman choosing between his powers and his love for Lois Lane, while simultaneously battling enemies with abilities equal to his own. Despite production troubles, the film was well received by audiences and earned nearly $200 million worldwide. Superman 3 arrived in 1983 and marked a significant shift in tone. Richard Lester returned as director, emphasizing comedy over the epic storytelling of the previous films.
Wait! Oh, hey, man!
That's only his last name. He likes to be called Superman.
Oh!
The villain was a computer-obsessed businessman named Ross Webster, played by Robert Vaughn, with Richard Pryor providing comic relief as a reluctant accomplice. The plot involved Superman being exposed to synthetic kryptonite that turns him evil, leading to an internal battle between good and evil.
You always wanted to fly, Kent. Now's your chance.
Superman. Critics were harsh, and while the film made money, earning around $80 million worldwide, it was considered a disappointment that damaged the franchise's reputation. Evans' Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Sidney J. Furie directed this poorly received installment that featured Nuclear Man as the primary antagonist.
Where is the woman?
Give it up, you'll never find her.
If you will not tell me, I will hurt people.
The plot tackled nuclear disarmament, with Superman attempting to rid the world of nuclear weapons only to face a solar-powered enemy created by Lex Luthor. The film was a critical and commercial disaster, earning only around $36 million worldwide and effectively ending Reeves' tenure as Superman. The franchise remained dormant until 2006 when Bryan Singer directed Superman Returns, intended as a spiritual successor to the Donner films. Brandon Routh stepped into the iconic role, joined by Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane and Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. The plot involves Superman returning to Earth after a 5-year absence to find the world has moved on without him.
Let's start with the big question. Where'd you go?
To Krypton?
While visually stunning and respectfully crafted, the film divided audiences with its slower pace and lack of action. It earned nearly $400 million worldwide, but was considered underwhelming given its massive budget. Henry Cavill's era began with 2013's Man of Steel, directed by Zack Snyder. This film completely reimagined Superman's origin with a darker, more realistic tone. The primary villain was General Zod, played by Michael Shannon, leading a Kryptonian invasion of Earth. The supporting cast included Amy Adams as Lois Lane, Russell Crowe as Jor-El, and Kevin Costner as Jonathan Kent. The film explored themes of identity and belonging while delivering spectacular action sequences.
Why are you surrendering to Zod?
I'm surrendering to mankind. There's a difference.
Critics were divided on the darker approach, but audiences responded positively, helping the film earn over $600 million worldwide. Cavil returned in 2016's Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, where he shared the screen with Ben Affleck's Batman and Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Zack Snyder again directed this ambitious crossover that introduced multiple villains, including Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor and the monstrous Doomsday. The complex plot involved Batman and Superman initially as enemies before uniting against a greater threat. Critical reception was harsh, with many citing the film's dark tone and convoluted storytelling, though it earned over $800 million worldwide. The director's cut, released later, was better received by fans and critics. Cavill's final solo appearance came in 2017's Justice League, though his role was part of the ensemble cast alongside other DC heroes. The newest chapter arrives with 2025's Superman, starring David Corenswet in the title role. James Gunn wrote and directed this fresh take on the character, bringing his unique blend of heart and humor to the franchise. The film introduces Krypto the Superdog as Superman's faithful companion, delighting audiences with the character's heroic canine antics. The plot centers on a young Superman establishee, Ing himself as Earth's protector, while facing the villainous Ultraman and his criminal organization. Early critical reception has been overwhelmingly positive, with the film currently holding an impressive 92% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences have particularly praised Corenswet's performance and Krypto's scene-stealing presence throughout the film. The movie has already earned over $200 million in its opening weekend, suggesting a bright future for this new interpretation of the beloved character. Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster's Depression-era creation truly was a source of hope, and the cinematic history is a wonderful tribute to their character. I recall seeing Superman when I was a kid, and have always loved the kind-hearted, humble hero he is. It's no wonder that our first cinematic Superman was played by another kind-hearted, humble man, Christopher Reeve. His portrayal of the iconic hero was amazing to see even with the lack of CGI back then. Facing off with the late great Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor was truly great acting and let us see the bitter and cold demeanor of Lex. We also explored a deeper love between Clark and Lois in Superman II and discovered new villains that crashed to Earth, showing us how much Superman was willing to sacrifice for Lois and mankind. Superman 3rd and IV were not my favorites, as others feel too, but they both did introduce us to new villains Ross Webster and Nuclear Man. May Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder rest in peace. Moving up to 2006 was a welcome time for another blockbuster classic, and with a great plot, acting, and actors. Brandon Routh was another excellent choice to play this iconic character. This movie takes us on a journey of love between Lois and Superman, and shows the depths of evil Lex Luthor would go to in destroying Superman and getting anything he wants. I was hoping to get a second and third movie from this film after seeing his son's abilities, but we'll leave that one open for discussion in the comments. We then see a new Superman on the rise in 2013, Man of Steel, with Henry Cavill, a great actor who took us into the world of a different and more serious Superman. We see him grow into adulthood with loving earthly parents played by Kevin Costner and Diane Lane, who taught him patience and temperance. Not learning about his true home until adulthood, we see him struggle with his relationship with mankind after growing in a bully society but defend it against his beliefs to not kill. And now we have the 2025 Superman movie out starring David Corenswet, a great new talent playing our hero. James Gunn brought a whole new look at Superman to us while keeping the essence of the original Superman movies alive. He also brought us characters we haven't seen on the big screen before with Krypto, Mr. Perfect, Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, the Superman robots, and Metamorpho. Spoiler alert, we even got to see Supergirl. Very excited for what is coming for the franchise, and so happy to see so many people still support and want to see Superman. Please let us know in the comments what your favorite Superman movie is and who your favorite Superman actor is. The 8th person to reply in the comments will win a special prize. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.